So today I thought we would indulge in a little bit of demystification about the critical path method of project management and what it means for your construction contract. I had never heard of the critical path before I joined the construction industry 11-ish years ago, although it's actually been around since the 1950s. So for those of you who haven't yet heard of it either, the critical path method is a technique for planning and scheduling complex projects. The critical path is basically the longest sequence of planned activities that are linked and that stretch out from the beginning to the end of the project. It helps the project management team decide two things: which of the many activities involved in a project will have a critical effect on the total time to complete the overall project, and how to program the activities in the shortest possible time at a minimum cost. There's a related concept of float, and I won't bore you too much, but float describes various time frames in the program, including how long activities can be delayed without affecting the target completion date. So construction contracts tend to deal with three project management factors: time, cost and quality. So you can see why the critical path method might be tangled up with your contract. Often the contract will identify qualifying causes of delay that entitle the contractor to an extension of time, and sometimes EOTs are conditional on the delay being on the critical path. So what happens when the critical path is impacted but the contractor can still meet practical completion? Well, that raises the question of who owns the float. In that case, the contractor would own the float, but at other times the principal is said to own the float, and the contractor won't be entitled to an EOT unless they can demonstrate that PC can't be achieved. And which one it is going to be determined by the words used in the contract. As we know, EOTs are super important to contractors because that's how they manage the costs of resourcing the project and their exposure to liquidated damages. So if you're a contractor, you want to try to make sure that you own the float, because it might give you a stronger entitlement to an EOT, and it might give you a bit of breathing room with the program. So what's a contractor to do? Well, three things. Firstly, check and make sure you understand the time clauses before you enter the contract. They might need some negotiation. Second, make sure that everyone agrees to a realistic program at the outset, capturing all critical activities. That's going to set a baseline from which you can demonstrate that changes are going to affect the critical path and/or PC and require an EOT. And finally, like I've said in other videos, be a project management ninja. That means understand the time frames for notifying delays and claiming EOTs and stick to them. It means keeping the program updated, incorporating the impact of both critical and non-critical activities and delays. And keep accurate records of everything that happens so you can prove that delays are qualifying and should entitle you to an EOT. So there you have it. That's it for today. Watch out for my next video where I'm planning to talk about coordination risk.